Chamonix, France. 2,300 runners are about to start their journey around Mont Blanc and take on the world's most iconic trail running race, UTMB. 4 letters, 3 countries crossed, one extraordinary adventure.
Trail running is a very beautiful sport. Have a lot of beautiful races, but we have one main races. This is UTMB.
We all come here together and kind of for the finals.
If you are a trail runner, you have to take part one time in your life.
The UTMB is a trail race in nature, mostly in the mountains that goes around Mont Blanc. It's 170 kilometers long, with 10,000 meters of elevation gain. It's often said to be the summit of ultra trail running.
It's great because it brings out some of the best trails in the world and for sure some of the best athletes in the world.
Like the meeting of the clans, quite an intense week if you go there, especially because there's people traveling from all over the world.
The UTMB is the most important race for us.
It's a real party on the mountain. If you make it to the finish line, then that's the best feeling and the best result. That's why I do this sport.
It hurts. It's really hard. You have to be really determined to go fast and to fight for every mile.
With bad luck or other things, anything can happen. At the end, we all worked hard to be here.
Half the job is just getting on the start line.
A whole year of your life packed in like 20 hours, you know?
I am Isabelle Viseux-Poletti, the director of the HOKA UTMB Mont-Blanc event. It's a week-long event with 7 race distances, starting from 15 kilometers for the shortest, up to 170 kilometers for the longest, plus an untimed 300-kilometer adventure in the mountains with 25,000 meters of elevation gain, called the PTL. My name is Catherine Poletti. I co-founded the UTMB with Michel, my husband. The race that used to be a relay with 7 runners around the Mont Blanc did not resume after 2 years of being shut down. It was a shame to give up this symbol of friendship between the 3 regions around Mont Blanc. So we decided to hold a meeting. There were 9 of us friends and we said, we want to do it, but not in the same way. We want it to be an individual race. We'll start the clock in Chamonix and we'll stop the clock in Chamonix. My parents, Catherine and Michel, created the event with this somewhat crazy idea to circle Mont Blanc in a single stage. We're in 2003. We saw registrations steadily increase. We thought if we got 300 participants, we'd be happy. But after 300, we said maybe 500 would be a bit much. In the end, 722 people were on the start line that year. It had been hot and dry all summer, and on the Friday of the race start, it was the first day of bad weather. So they ran in challenging conditions and set off on quite an adventure. Michel was running because at the time all 9 friends said, "We're happy to organize it, but we're also running the race." Then they all turned to me and said, "Well, you're not running, so you'll manage the race." They were so off because I ended up loving it.
massive race is also an historical event.
There's truly a unique atmosphere here in Chamonix.
When I heard about trail running, I heard also directly from UTMB. And then I said, okay, I have to go there. I want to be also on the start line together with the most famous and best trail runner in the world.
I'm really grateful to be at the start line, surrounded by these amazing athletes that are here with me.
Hello, I'm Ludo Pomeray. My first UTMB was in 2004, and this year marks my 20th anniversary. I won it in 2016. If it looks like I'm not feeling the pressure, that's great. I think in any race, especially in ultras, there's always pressure. You're preparing for 170 kilometers, and you know there will be tough moments. Gathering the best elite athletes and passionate runners on the same start line, the UTMB is a race like no other. Starting from Chamonix at 6 p.m. in a nervous and emotional atmosphere, runners head down the Mont-Blanc Valley towards Les Ouches. Supported by hundreds of spectators, they continue their journey and cross Saint-Gervais, where they start a relentless climb up to Croix de Bonhomme, passing through Les Contamines and the crazy atmosphere at Notre-Dame de la Gorge. As they venture deeper into the night, they regain the serenity of the mountains and enjoy the sounds of nature. Crossing Col de la Seigne at over 2,500 meters marks their entry into Italy. After passing by the magnificent Lac Combal, they take on the Arête du Montfavre before heading down to Courmayeur, a key aid station with assistance at nearly halfway through the course. A balcony trail overlooking the Italian Val Ferret leads to Arnouva, starting the ascent to the Grand Col Ferret, which is the highest point of the route. Runners descend to La Foulie, entering Switzerland, and continue in the valley before turning left towards Champellac. The last section of the race begins with the ascent of Bovine and the descent to Trient. Another brutal climb to reach Catogne, and the runners can refuel at Valorcine, the last aid station with assistance. The trail then takes on the last technical section up to La Flégère. As runners tackle the final descent, they start hearing the crowds in Chamonix, an iconic finish under the arch to an extraordinary journey around Mont Blanc, whether in under 20 hours or more than 46 hours. After many months of anticipation and excitement, the pressure is building at the start line.
The feeling of the start line of UTMB is something that I'm short of words of. It's amazing. You can feel like the tension from so many people that are dreaming of doing this.
My name is Mathieu Blanchard. I'm 36 years old. My best race memories, performance-wise, would be the UTMB in 2022, where I set my best time. I managed to complete the race in under 20 hours, and I had a great battle with my friend Kylian Jornet. It's not so much the distance that scares me at the start of a race anymore, but rather the speed at which we'll be running it. At the start, something was very clear. No one wanted to take the lead. We set off a bit fast, but then we slowed down because it seemed like no one dared to be the one who starts too quickly and burns out. Back in Chamonix, we meet Ludovic, who, like other trail running enthusiasts and elite runners, chase dreams around the Mont Blanc. I am Ludovic. I am 46 years old. I'm married and I live in the Paris region. I work at Dacia with a team on vehicle development. Today, I am thrilled to take part in the 2024 edition of the UTMB. It's the ultimate goal for any trail runner to be here. I've participated in the UTMB twice. We can come back to the conditions later. I ran the CCC last year, and 2 years ago, I completed the 50K in Nice by UTMB. I've done various ultra-endurance events. Beyond the UTMB, I've also done the Marathon des Sables, the Diagonale des Fous in Réunion. I've also participated in ultra triathlons, which are distances longer than the Ironman, like multiples of the Ironman. In fact, I completed a triple Ironman and a quintuple Ironman. These distances are, of course, very long, but these are the type of events I enjoy because they are not so much about speed, but more about endurance and mental strength. Here you go. Thank you very much. Enjoy your race. My goal, as with any race, is first and foremost to finish. That's the primary objective. If I can finish close to what I did 9 years ago, that would be great. I finished in 37 hours and 30 minutes. I'm not here with the performance at all costs mindset. I'm here mainly to enjoy myself. For me, an ultra is also an adventure. Regarding daily training, rather than training for a specific race, I tend to train throughout the year, often on my own. Here we find ourselves in a group. The race will certainly be challenging, but it's also hard to wake up early in the morning every day to run alone. Ultimately, this is what builds the foundation for success in the race. In some ways, the race is the reward, and the start is the relief. Here, it's legendary. I've never experienced such an intense start. We are at the foot of the Mont Blanc, surrounded by elite runners. It's very impressive. My main objective? To finish and have fun. If I get a good time, that will be the cherry on top. After 20 kilometers of racing in nearly 2 hours, the elite athletes are running as a pack in Saint-Gervais, where they are cheered on by the crowd. I really enjoy crossing through the town of Saint-Gervais. There's such a great atmosphere there. By then, we've already covered about 20 kilometers, and it's cool to get there and feel all the energy of the town and the people. I think it's an amazing stage.
After the start, I didn't do anything special. I just followed my
my own feelings and ran like I always do in training. I think it's important that the race is not a special day. It's just, you can approach it like any day you're going for a run. Obviously, you can take the energy from everyone around, and that's what makes it special, but in your own head, it can still be what you do every day.
In the women's race, Katie Scheid quickly takes the lead, followed by Marianne Hogan and Blandine Lirondelle. Entering the night, no one has made a breakaway while passing through Le Contamine.
You know, using headlamps and carrying packs and all those things just happen naturally, which is really fun. And it's a long time out in the dark, and yes, it's you and your headlamp. Climbing out of Contamines, I always look back and there's just this huge line of like 1,000 headlamps behind you going up this amazing valley. It's like one of my most special moments. In my training, with my time over here, I've always gone out and done those, especially those sections that I'm gonna be at night in the light, so that I can envision what it actually looks like a little more. So run by, you know, some flowers and know that there's this huge mountain to my left and glacier, and kind of envision that when it's dark out and I can't see it.
Notre-Dame de la Gorge, the famous stretch of Notre-Dame de la Gorge. I've seen it evolve a lot in recent years. My first UTMB was in 2018. I didn't do the very first UTMBs, but it wasn't like it is today. There was a small bonfire and maybe about 30 people scattered along the first few meters of the hill. Now the crowd gets bigger and the fan tunnel gets longer every year. Personally, I like it, but it can be quite a shock. Even though there were supporters in the Contamine, we then go for a brief moment into our own headspace as night falls after the Contamines. And then we go through something very intense. Wow, it becomes extreme. My favorite moment is when we enter the mountains at Col du Bonhomme. We go from the bustling noise, which is great. I run to experience emotions, and it's incredible. But then suddenly, the only thing you hear is the sound of the poles. It's a sound that tells me, okay, we're really into the UTMB now. Taking the lead, Jim Walmsley is 8 minutes ahead of his competitors at Lac Combal. These races demand such a high level of performance that the pace is frantic right from the start. When the pace is frantic, that's when we get the clearest indication of our fitness level. You know right away if you're in shape or not, and whether you'll be able to continue. Suffering from an injury, Mathieu Blanchard is forced to quit at Lac Combal while the race goes on. Located nearly halfway into the route, Courmayeur is a decisive point of the race. Ranked 69th among the favorites at the start, Vincent Bouillard surprisingly arrives first at Courmayeur aid station. Hello, my name is Vincent Bouillard. I'm 31 years old and I live in Annecy, France. I work in engineering, developing products for running shoes. I also run during weekends and on my free time. I enjoyed the start by staying focused on pace. To keep a pace I thought was reasonable for me, without worrying too much about what the others were doing. As I kept to my cruising speed, I was surprised to catch up with many runners. And then I caught up with my friend Jim, who was leading the race. A funny anecdote, I thought there was still another run ahead. When I caught up with Jim, I asked him, "How far are the leaders?" He turned to me and said, "No, it's you, you're in the lead now." Like Jim Walmsley, 210 runners will withdraw at Courmayeur. Baptiste Chassagne and Joaquin Lopez leave the aid station respectively in 11th and 12th positions. Integrating into the group of male favorites, Katie Scheid is 17th overall. Marianne Hogan arrives 38 minutes later. She is followed by Blandine Girondel and the women's pursuers who are very close by. As organizers, during the night of the UTMB, there aren't too many issues because people are more attentive, more vigilant, and there is a lot of mutual support. Runners often don't run alone. I'm Patrick Basset, an anesthesiologist and intensive care doctor. We're at the UTMB headquarters on the top floor of this building, where there is what we call the command center. This is the hub where we receive information from the 3 countries through which the runners pass. We coordinate with all the volunteers, doctors, nurses, and rescuers who work under the supervision of this medical assistance company. This company provides the material, logistical, and transportation resources and coordinates all these experts throughout the week to ensure that they are at the right place at the right time, with the right equipment and support to handle any difficulties and prevent failures. I'm Sébastien Robert, working for Live Trail. I am responsible for Live Trail within the UTMB group. Live Trail is a runner flow management tool. We receive timing data, meaning real-time data on runners passing checkpoints. There's also a security aspect where the race control center can see where all the runners are along the course and manage crisis situations or avoid certain issues. With Live Trail, we can get alerts. For example, if we estimate that a runner will arrive at a certain time at the next checkpoint, let's say at Chapieux at 2 a.m., and if they're not there by 2:30 a.m., an alert is triggered, and the control center starts searching for them by following a protocol. I'm Federico Gilardi, head of the Grand Col Ferret checkpoint for a few years now. We coordinate operations from here. The Grand Col Ferret is a legendary pass, marking the border between Italy and Switzerland. Psychologically, you think, there's only Switzerland to go, and then it's downhill to Chamonix. We spend the night here, trying to sleep as much as we can at the Grand Col Ferret, and then we wait for the first runners of the UTMB. Still in the lead since Courmayeur, Vincent Bouillard arrives at the Grand Col Ferret Pass just before sunrise. Germain Grangier is only 5 minutes behind Vincent Bouillard. Followed by Lionel Christian Manolet in 3rd place. Katie Scheid is the first woman to cross the highest point.
Every time I race at night, something goes unexpectedly. So as long as you're calm and just patient and know that the sun is going to come back again in a few hours.
For me, the Grand Col Ferret is a turning point. It marks the last section of the course, which gets tougher. But I think it was my strong point. Marianne Hogan maintains her 2nd position as she flies down towards Switzerland. The gap is shrinking between Blandine Lirondelle and Ruth Croft, who is quickly catching up.
And I just started feeling better as the race progressed. And so coming down Grand Col Ferret, I'd finally been able to see Blandine.
The first night went very well, especially the first part of the night. The weather conditions were perfect. Then it got a bit cold near Lac Combal. It was also the end of the first night for me, so fatigue was starting to increase. I had my first fall there, which was a bit of a warning. The descent to Courmayeur was another warning, where I fell again and injured myself more severely. It was time for me to reach Courmayeur to recharge. But in the end, it all went well. A very nice moment was the sunrise, because after the night came the day, and it was under a beautiful sun. While the battle continues between the first men, Katie Scheid is still comfortably leading the women's race entering La Foulie aid station. Marianne Hogan manages to keep a high pace despite some challenges. I fell suddenly, I think because of a rock, and my hand hit a tree trunk. I didn't know if my finger was dislocated or broken, but I knew it was out of alignment and might complicate things. But the good news was that at that moment, it felt like my brain focused on the pain in my finger and somewhat forgot about the pain in my legs, allowing me to keep moving forward. Opportunities like this don't come around often. So since it's a race, the goal is to try. Every minute counts. It doesn't matter if it's at the start, in the middle, or at the end of the race. I try to focus on my pace and maintain a pace I consider reasonable for myself. Champélac is a strategic aid station. leaders know it can be a turning point in the race. Both men and women elites are getting ready for a fierce battle for the podium in the last 40 kilometers.
Be more efficient in everything, like just my decision making, changing clothes, like eating, and I just went with the flow of the people. And I start passing runners that I've never passed before and I've never raced with them.
I've always maintained a sort of consistency, and I knew that after Champé, it would be where the race really starts.
It's really hard. You have to be really determined to go fast.
I was ahead of all the timing and gave me even more motivation. And also knowing that the women behind me were starting to make a big push at the end, so I needed to be sure that I could still keep moving well.
It's easier to manage my race and not the race of my competitors, so to speak. For me, it was just a matter of trying to move as quickly as possible through the sections as best as I could.
And in the same, coming into Champé, my parents and family had travelled over from New Zealand, and knowing that you're going to see them at the next aid stations is just like a massive encouragement. And then the plan was to start moving forward after that.
Hey Ludovic, how are you? And you especially. I'm good. At Champé, I was feeling great, both mentally and physically. Morally, everything was going very well. The end of the night was a bit challenging. I think that's why I fell. With fatigue, you naturally pay a bit less attention to your surroundings. I think having a loved one around is the best support a runner can get. It's not just about food, but also about the equipment, as she helps me change my gear and handle all the logistics. And mentally, having someone to give encouraging words and updates from home is a fantastic boost to keep moving forward. Back to work. That's the next stage. I see Germain and I'm stunned. I thought he was way ahead. I thought if I pass him, it means I have a better chance to finish on the podium. Vincent Bouillard maintains his first place despite the runners coming back strongly from behind.
I was with Baptiste. We shared a lot of the race together.
When I knew he was behind me, I thought, wow, it's going to be tough.
Last year, he finished 10th and I finished 11th. So we were both also battling throughout the race.
I thought I'd managed to stay ahead of him. He kept coming back, and it was a nightmare.
I live in Ecuador, and we have big mountains, so I actually prefer those big climbs at the end. It's good for me.
I think still that a woman can definitely run under 22 hours. Even if I wasn't sure to reach this goal, I thought it was a great goal to set.
Katie Scheid holds her lead, while the competition for the women's podium continues. Ruth is a fierce competitor. When I knew she was behind me, I started to worry that she might catch up.
I felt like if I was going to move into second, I needed to pass Marianne before the top of the descent down.
She arrived with such speed, I couldn't even think about trying to keep up with her.
I wanted to pass Marianne very convincingly so that she didn't think that she could then, like, she's not moving too well, like I'll be able to pass her back later. So I made an effort to make sure I passed her quite quickly.
I kept pushing forward, hoping I could hold on to third place on the podium. As Vincent Bouillard passes La Flagère, crowds in Chamonix are getting ready to celebrate his extraordinary achievement. Vincent Bouillard makes history by winning the 2024 edition of the UTMB in 19 hours, 54 minutes, and 23 seconds.
I've been coming to UTMB since almost the very beginning. I've been as a spectator, as a volunteer, then I've been through work with HOKA, and then I've crewed very close friends, and so I've seen like so many parts of the event. But already being on the start line was a true like it was a dream, literally a childhood dream. But it was literally my wildest dream to think that I could win. Like that was not even, that was the A+++ objective on the ranking. So no, just incredible day, incredible day.
Baptiste Chassagne claims second place after a tough competition, with Joaquin Lopez finishing third a few minutes later. This finish line is ultra special. I felt a massive emotional impact. I don't know when I'll recover from it.
Then you reach the finish line, the people are waiting for you, and if you have a good result, then it's the best day ever.
Hannes Namberger and Ludovic Pommeret crossed in 4th and 5th. Crossing the finish line is a huge emotional relief, and then you get to see your loved ones at the finish line. I also think that the more tired you are, the more intense the emotions become. Katie Scheid is unbeatable as she arrives at La Flégère more than 47 minutes ahead of her competitors. In the fastest ever women's race, Katie Scheid claims top spot in 22 hours, 9 minutes, and 31 seconds.
Honestly, I think I was more empty than excited. I really gave it everything, and when I got to the finish, it was just like a huge relief to get there. And yeah, I think I'll take the next few days to feel a bit more of that excitement coming in once I have time to rest.
Making an impressive comeback, Ruth Croft finishes second.
It's pretty special because you think you started in Chamonix like just under 24 hours, and just what you've managed to do in a day. Like, you've gone through 3 countries and you've managed to come back to the place that you started, and just the support all throughout the course. But then it's pretty special when you finally reach the streets of Chamonix and everyone's out lining the streets and really bringing you home. Yeah, it was cool.
Marianne Hogan takes 3rd place after an intense race.
It's a huge community, like trail running community. Like, everyone in the whole crowd loves this race and loves our sport. And so that's a really special thing.
It's crazy, but it's super nice that more or less we all know each other and we respect each other.
Here are the rankings for the men's top 5. Here are the rankings for the women's top 5. I realized that maybe I had pushed too hard on the descent from the Grand Col Ferret. My thigh muscles, the quadriceps, were no longer reacting during descents. So the last 3 descents of the course were really tough. I had to dig really, really deep mentally because it was very, very hard. It's 3:30 a.m. in Chamonix, and Ludovic Dupont completes his extraordinary journey after 33 hours and 25 minutes on the trails. I feel like I've accomplished something significant because I'm not a professional athlete. I'm just an ordinary guy. So finishing a race like this feels like my own personal version of the Olympics. Much more than a race, the UTMB is an introspective experience which transforms every person that takes on the challenge, thanks to the support of family, friends, supporters, partners, and the invaluable commitment of 2,500 volunteers.